Hi there, I'm John Underhill, and this is the Red Special Guitar Podcast. Today are doing something completely different in that not only are we putting this up on podcast sites with the audio, but I'm also today going to be sharing some video with you of an interview I recorded earlier this year with our very own We Will Rock You, Danny Gomez. Now, everyone will know Danny Gomez from his fantastic Instagram channel and his content and The Royal Way, but I caught up with Danny earlier this year via video to have a chat with him about how he got into all of this and where it's led him to. Outside of that, I've also recently caught up with Danny this last week for an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the rig he's using for the We Will Rock You shows in Spain that he is currently rehearsing for. I've also got a fantastic giveaway at the end of this podcast, which I'd like you to all be involved in. It's something fantastic with IK Media, and I'm going to have a little chat about the Red Special meetup in October 2021 in Reading in the UK. So please stick around to learn all about that. But without further ado, here's me, partway through a conversation with Danny Gomez. And the idea is just to have a nice chat so we understand and we get on film, or not on film, but capture your story about how Brian May's inspired you. Because I think that's such an important thing to capture, because if we don't do that, in 20 years when we're all a little bit older and the next generation find Queen, they're not going to know who we are and all this information. And, you know, there's so much knowledge and information and great community of people. We ought to do something to try and protect it for future generations, I think.
In a way, it's like the We Will Rock You musical. It's like we are keeping the flame. It's like, yeah, there's no new, like, big, in my opinion, there's no new big rock gods and guitar gods. It's like we have Brian May, we have Steve Vai, we have Joe Satriani, we have Richie Blackmore, we have Eddie Van Halen, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's no like new generation. There's amazing people playing that. I would say, I don't know, Pliny or Nick Johnson, for example. And I love them and beat them several times. Love the guys, but it's a different like connection. It's not about musicality. It's not about technique. It's about connection to me.
Yeah. No, and I'm what's been lovely, we're probably covering stuff we'll talk about in the podcast, but is over the last sort of 5 to 10 years is how much Queen has been picked up by the youth of today. And you just hope that there'll be some kid who's seen Bohemian Rhapsody, who's joined the forum or learnt a bit more, or watches some of your videos, or some of, I don't know, Thomas Brunkard's tutorials, or whoever it is, and thinks, I want to play guitar as a rock guitarist because I love Brian May and I love these guys, and goes on to be a professional artist with a band that's inspired, because that would be fantastic.
It happened to me. It's like it's exactly what happened to me. So I would consider myself a hit if I could inspire just one person to do exactly the same thing that I did. It's like I used to live in a very bad neighborhood, so I had no access to lessons or gear, even guitar string. I had no chance to get all that stuff that today we take it all for granted. It's like you open Amazon, you get strings, you get a guitar, and you know how it goes. And but back to the days, plus 25 years ago, wow, I'm that old. So plus 25 years ago,
you were only 3, Danny. How can that be? You'd have been about minus 4 years old.
I'm 42 at the moment, so it's like, it makes all sense. But the thing is, if I can inspire someone to grab the guitar and play good music, you don't need to play Queen. It's like the first time. Well, let's deep into this. First time I was like impacted by the asteroid Brian May. I know that he loved this quote because I did say that in an interview, and he loved that thing. He put that on Twitter about the asteroid Brian May. So you keep that. I was the virgin planet Danny, and suddenly the asteroid Brian May did bang, on my surface, and there was a big crater forever. You are not the same anymore. So I was with a good friend of mine, Roberto, and he wrote like a gem. This it was like, okay, man, this is a big treasure. It's from my brother, and we have to take good care of this. And it was a kind of magic. And I think in a weekend, probably we listened to the full record around 20 or 25 times. We destroyed that record, and it was like, oh my god, this is incredible. I never played a guitar. I never had like any dreams of being a rock guitar player or whatever. It was like, oh my god, oh my god. And the first thing that inspired to me was the desire to be a guitar player, but I never thought to play any Queen music because it was too elevated. It was the right thing to do was to listen to this stuff, but you're not worth to play this stuff. This stuff is when you're with a friend, with family, when you need some mojo to go for the day, or you're running, or but you cannot play that stuff. There's a guy that played that stuff. So okay, yeah, it's like, and after that, well, I started playing, never playing Queen. Started playing with singer-songwriters, started playing with artists, started to tour around the world as a professional musician. And suddenly, in 2003, through the same friend, Roberto, I was called to do some understudy work at the WWRY show. So basically, I had to learn the part in case Roberto couldn't do the gig. He got the gig when I was on tour in Mexico. So I came back and he said, hey, man, I got this gig. Oh, wait. Yeah. So that's amazing. So I received the call, prepare the understudy. In 1 week, 25 Queen hits. So I passed from 0 to 25 in 1 week. I couldn't read music. I had literally no idea about what was on that script because it was like something like magic. It was like a kind of magic. A kind of magic is to learn what all that tiny black dots are meaning. It's like, okay, give me the CD. So I basically got the CD from Brian. The first time he came for the press release, I got the CD, signet, and everything. So I put my CD. I turned back one of the speakers because everything was well panned. So I turned back one of the speakers and I learned that guitar beginning to end in 1 week, looking the black dots. I have an idea about that. And it was like from 0 to 25 in 1 week. It was like my baptism of fire. It was like, bang, you're a queenie right now. Boom. And it was like, okay, I want to play this stuff forever because in 1 week I understood all the subtle nuances of the chords and the inversions because I access to Queen music as a mature student. It's like, okay, when you're well prepared, you can play a lot of stuff. You've been touring the world, you know about the gear, about the technique, about your instrument. You did your 10,000 hours to master your instrument, and suddenly is you have a new favorite food. And it's like, okay, but I'm well prepared. But yeah, okay, but you can apply all the harmony you know, all the technique you got, all the gear knowledge that you had. So suddenly I came to that to say, okay, I need the treble booster go the first line, and later we need the chorus. And it was like rearranging thing on the musical, and I was the understudy. And I did that from 2003 to 2008, 5 like different years with different productions, doing different roles, and I came from understudy to the one of the main guitar players because we were 2 guitar players live in the show. So it was I did quite a career. It was like, oh my god, I get it that. So that was the WWRY story.
Was that 5 years in London? Then you sort of came over and you spent the whole 5 years in London, or were you around the world?
I did. No, it was like the 5 years in Spain. I came to London to see the production and to take some notes. In that week, I did a very quick trip and I got some tickets and I got like, it was amazing. It was some kind of lantern pen and I was taking notes. during the show, and I came back and I did my debut. So I did everything in We Will Rock You Spain.
So was that what guitar were you using then? Did you start off with one of your other guitars, and then did they give you a Brian May guitar, or did you have to go out and buy your own kit?
Well, the Spanish production was the first franchise in the world of the We Will Rock You. So that was a good thing because they hired the team that originally prepared the show in London. So we even got the screws, and everything was like UK made. It was like, wow, it never happened that way in Spain. It was one of the very first musical shows happening here. It was like almost like, yeah, wow, that long. It's like, oof, oh my God, like 20 years ago. So they sent a couple of Burns guitars for any guitar, one of the original. It's nice because I recently got one of the original Burns, exactly like the ones that we used at the show.
Yeah.
All was stock, so the guitars were stock, were regular Daddario strings, and like the original pickups, and everything was absolutely a stock, and it was good. And the pedalboard was pretty basic. We got a TV 83 extra, and a couple of Boss pedals, a tiny Fender, I think that it was, amp for feedback, and a couple of Box AC30s isolated. I don't know where, but far and loud.
Somewhere else.
And that was
back
it.
Back in the UK, probably.
But it was a long cable.
Yeah. Yeah. So that must have been quite the experience, and
it was
being in that for 5 years and learning all of that in such a short space of time.
Yeah, it was half of the experience was to be exposed at that level to a new old music. The other half was to obviously meet Brian. In 2003, press release, Brian came, someone introduced us, like, okay, I know who you are, you're doing a great job, you're preparing all this stuff. Super quick, I love you too. I can't believe that you know who I am, but thank you. During the We Will Rock You years, in 2006, I had the chance to record actually with Brian because he decided to collaborate with us in an album that we were recording with one of the Galileos of the show, and we decided, okay, let's try it. And we mentioned him to readapt Too Much Love Will Kill You in Spanish. And he said, yeah, okay, you guys can do that. And I will record a completely new solo for the song. So we completed the album, and we made that Too Much Love Will Kill You, Tanto Amor No Es Bueno, was the title in Spanish. You can find that on YouTube. And we made like two versions, one with all my guitars, but the solo, copying every detail. And the other was guitar-less. It's like, okay, it's your song, do your thing. I understand that having you in the room, there's no space. And we sang both, and he said, well, I love the tone, you did very well. And he sent back a track. Well, he didn't. Justin Julius Smith sent the track, and he played in my gaps. It was like, okay, the solo gap, and he harmonized my details and everything. It was, and I was the first. It was like to be the first man in the moon. It was. I received the tracks. I opened my Pro Tools session and I dragged them in, and suddenly everything worked. And it was alone at home at night crying. I'm telling you that. It was like, this is it. It's like, there's nothing better than this. It's like,
no,
you did it.
Well, definitely. Well, that's one of the, you probably top most people there, having a chance to record with Brian and have him. So Danny and I are on Zoom for anyone listening, and I can see what Danny's doing. So he's smiling away at me at the moment.
Yeah.
But no, what
big
a great
smile.
Story, Danny. Yeah, giant smile. I can't see anything else but teeth at the moment. No, what a great thing though to be able to re-record a fantastic song with I'm guessing with the cast from We Will Rock You in Spain, and then have Brian add his bits to something you've created as well. And that must be absolutely one of those pinch yourself moments where you're sort of dreaming.
It was, and when the album was finished, I sent him an email. It's like now I'm quite well used to email Brian every now and then, every 2 or 3 weeks or so, talk about whatever stuff. But back to that day, it was quite a moment to drop a line to the guy and say, "Hey, here it goes, your CD copy. Hope you like it." It's like, please, I hope you like it. And he sent the email back, say, "Hey man, I love the tone and everything. What guitar did you use for the record?" "I use one of your Browns guitars." "Oh, it could be great. We are releasing my own company, Brian Bay Guitars. Could be great. I will put you in contact with Barry Morehouse. It could be great to be involved." And I sent that email to Barry, and Barry say, "Hey, if Brian loves you, we love you." Basically, they offer me to treat me as a We Will Rock You show myself. It's like, okay, the same conditions, the same working together, the same exposure and everything, like of a We Will Rock You show. But for every like project that I was involved with, I was on tour with a Queen tribute in that years at the same time that I was doing We Will Rock You. I had a couple of understudies myself, so I was on tour using the guitars, and I was like touring We Will Rock You artist, and it was great because I think that it was like Brian, and suddenly it was that this guy from Spain that nobody knows about, and this guy is on the website. Who is this guy? And it was like, wow, ooh, something's happening here.
So that's when you became like a BMG artist, and they
Yeah.
they started to look after you.
I would say that was 2007, something like that. Very early for
Yeah,
the Burns BMG transition, something like that. I think that it was in the very middle of that.
yeah. It's sorry, it's very early on in that, and it's again, what an honor to be picked to be the face of BMG. Well, not the face, because obviously that's Brian's face, but one of the faces of Brian. Yeah,
a face in the crowd. And then I got
yeah.
my Baby Blue BMG that they sent me for a musical show that I was doing about water in 2008. That was fantastic because it was a little different from the Bronze one, but it served me well for 12 years. And suddenly I decided to mod it and put all that stuff in and made it unreal because it's amazing.
So what have you had done to it, Danny, for anyone that doesn't know or hasn't seen pictures of it on Facebook recently?
To the Baby Blue, I added all the original hardware by the Cyber Shop and Air Arts conversions. I added the Yonder Boss Silver Game prototype set, all in gold, and all the little details like the locking tuners with the pellet tips, all the good stuff, like all the little details. But the guitar itself was very good. I'm very well used to that thin neck. To me, it's like Ibanez wizard neck compared with to the original big chunky neck. It's like you can fly there.
So yeah, you used. Oh, I lost my way. Have you ever? I'm going to ask you. Have you ever played the original Red Special?
No, sir. I touched the original, but I never actually played.
Played it.
The good thing is that in Spanish, to touch and to play is the same word. So like if you were asking me this in Spanish, I would say, yeah, yes. I touch. In Spanish, is tocar. So tocar means play, and tocar means to touch. It's the same word for both. But the thing is that Brian came with Pete, with the guitar, and we all were like around. It was like, oh my God, and it was like, and that was it. That was my story. But I'm positive about, I don't know, this year, next year, somewhere in time, I will have that chance. From that.
I'm sure with the power of the Red Special community and the power of yourself and the Bread Special Guitar podcast behind you, I'm sure we'll make that dream come true at some point.
I hope so.
No, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if I know it came to one of the meetups one year, and I'm not saying that I know that it's going to come to one because we never expect it to, but I'm sure at some point in the future, if we're very lucky, it might make an appearance again, or you never know, do you? You never know.
As soon as I can travel regularly again, well, I have my office in London, so I tend to travel quite regularly, and I would love to go to one of the Red Special meetups and to meet you all in the flesh, even in the UK or the US. I would love to.
You'd be most welcome to come along, and you'd be surrounded by like-minded individuals. But what's interesting though is you've got obviously like yourself, who is a very accomplished player and has done the dream really. You've ended up playing guitar not only professionally, but ended up playing in We Will Rock You and becoming a BMG artist and using the real deal and working with the right people. But in the community, we've got people that are also players, we've got people that are builders, people that just really love Queen and Brian May. And what's lovely is that all of these different people interact and get on so harmoniously, because we're all,
I love it.
It's very special. And I don't know, I follow some other guitar players, not as much as Brian and some other guitars, but there isn't another community like ours where everyone is so friendly and helpful, no matter what your background is or experience. And you've got yourself giving advice freely, and other players giving advice, and people that have researched Brian's original rig from back in the 70s telling you all about it. And it's just, I think the other day someone was asking if someone could borrow a treble booster, and within 10
I love
minutes
that one.
like he had so many offers of treble boosters and where else would you find that? Most people would be like, I'm not sending you a treble booster, you might steal it. But in our home, it's not the way, is it? We're really lucky.
I love it. It's like, well, I'm a nerd. First thing, I'm a nerd. It's like I don't know, maybe it was luck, it was the chance, and I took my opportunity and did the best I could. But first thing, I'm a nerd. It's like, since I got pinched for the Red Special, when I had the chance to play the real deal, doing the gig at the We Will Rock You, to play the thing a full volume and a full theater and everything, it was like, oh my God, I decided, okay, I want to commit myself to this stuff. I want to be involved with this stuff. I was doing all the session work, but this is the real deal. This is my music. This is my guitar. And I want to be involved with the people that love the thing as much as I do. It's like morning stuff with the teas. Like, you check the Red Special forum. Maybe there's something interesting. Maybe there's a new D-key component found in an old radio in South Africa, wherever. It's like, oh my God, I love this stuff. Like, there are many of bad news in the world right now. You need some good stuff, like the friendly people talking about good things. Oh, there's a new treble booster to try. I want to acquire that immediately. It's like, there's a new booster. I'm a booster nerd. Or it gave me the chance, for instance, to talk deeply with Nigel, for example, and I will be receiving my custom Danny Gomez AC30 soon. So it's like, what happened here? Like, he's a guy in the forum. It's like, he's the man. But he's a guy in the forum. You can talk. You can send a private message. Hey man, how are you?
Yep. No, it's great. We're so well connected to the likes of Nigel as well. And Nigel is himself a fantastic chap. He has time for everyone. His knowledge is immense, and he's got a very dry sense of humor. But when you meet him, you realize that he's lovely, and he's a devout forum meetup attendee. He's been coming to the meetups for nearly as long as they've been going on.
It's like, this is a good story. It's like, last year, the first time that I contacted him by email, it's like, hey Nigel, I need a big band amp. I don't use amp, as you know. I never use amp. I use my TAE preamp, and I'm a happy TAE user. But it was like, I have a big studio, I have some space, and 95% of what my clients ask me to play and record for their production is Brian May stuff. It's like, okay, we need some Brian May magic, but we cannot access to Brian May, so we need this thing, the magic thing. So 99% of my gear is Brian May related. And it's like, okay, I have different, well, I work at Orange Amplifiers, so I have a big bunch of Orange amps, but I needed one of Brian amps in case I need the volume, in case I don't know, next year there's a planning European tour that probably would require an amp. So let's get the proper amp. So I sent Nigel an email, a gentleman, he helped me immensely. Okay, let's do it. And some weeks ago, he sent me the amp. He actually sent me the amp, and the courier made a mess. So the amp arrived today back to Nigel.
Oh, Danny.
Yeah, post-Brexit magic. It was a fantastic trip. So the thing is that the amp will be coming back tomorrow. Back. The thing is that during this week, I had the chance to email Nigel pretty every day. And he never lose his temper. Absolutely fantastic. He helped me a lot. And I asked him tons of questions like, would you mind to connect? Would you mind to connect by yourself? He's a superstar. He's the man. So he could say, hey man, you have a problem. I send you the amp. I made you the amp. You paid the amp. Now it's your problem. Enjoy it. But no, he was fantastic. Okay, let's try to connect. Okay, let's try this other way. Okay, I will receive the amp. I will check that the amp is not destroyed on these first 2 trips, and I will send the amp back. So he helped immensely. And it's like, the thing is that, again, the guy could be a superstar. And it was like, dealing with you is like, you send me stuff, and it was the same kind of relationships. Like, hey man, how are you? Okay, this is your tracking number. Okay, thank you very much. Here goes the PayPal. Okay, lovely, thank you. And I love this stuff. You can talk with Nigel, and you can talk with you, or you can talk with Thomas or Merlin or whoever, and everyone is the same. It's like,
we're all there for the love of Brian May and his homemade guitar, aren't we? That's ultimately what.
Exactly. It's like, you're seeing the feed of the group, and at the end of the day, you don't know if that guy is a professional guitar player, or is a rock god, or is an accountant, or is a dentist. It's the same, because when we are there, we are all the same. We're talking about stuff that we love, and you only see an avatar or a picture or some video of playing, but you don't know the background of the guy. You don't know what he's doing to paying the bills. It's like, this guy knows something about the Tiki amp. I want to know more about this stuff. It doesn't matter if it's a fucking dentist or a police officer or a prime minister. It doesn't matter to me.
No, and everyone's so welcoming, and you can ask anyone any question and people will get back to you, and it doesn't matter who you are, you're treated the same with respect. And
exactly.
People post up videos of themselves playing guitar, which is fantastic, and people ask for advice, and you've got people like yourself will comment saying, well, you might want to try this or have a look at this. And then, exactly. We've seen people like Merlin, who has improved. I don't know how much you can put into words how much Merlin has improved in the last 12 months, but he's a fantastic little player now.
He's doing very well. Exactly. It's like, to be honest, I never felt myself like playing until probably last year. So I was playing. I was doing my job and preparing songs for tours or whatever. I never thought to feel myself like, hey, look, I can play this stuff. I'm not interested in that stuff at all. My point of view is more that, look, I can play this stuff, and you can play that too. I will play that slow, and that way you can learn something valuable that I haven't the chance back to the day to have like a tutorial with a guy, an actual guy talking to me and showing me very slow how to play this stuff. So that was my approach. And I think that I did the first time for the Red Special 4. It's like, okay, I will do a video. playing something that I think that is valuable. And if anyone thinks that is valuable to wants a slow down version or whatever, just let me know, and I will do that for free. He's like, I want to help. And that gave me the idea of the Royal Way like lessons to help people that is basically outside the Red Special Forum. There's a people that are out of our club that wanted to know that, but they're not in our club. So it's like, okay, I will upload videos and lessons and everything to my website, and you can access to that. And if you need one-to-one feedback, as we have at the Red Special Forum, or you need a personalized video, as we have at the Red Special Forum, you can access to that. Or even you need one-to-one lessons, and okay, I can offer you that. But the seed of all that was the Red Special Forum. It's like, okay, I want to show you how I play this. It doesn't matter if I play well or bad, I'm doing well or wrong, it's my approach or whatever. I will play you this. If you like it and you want it slower, I can do that tomorrow or in 5 minutes, or I don't know, I can, whatever. I want to help. Sometimes I'm studying even other styles like Yves Malsin or whatever. I do a quick videos like here. The students like, guys, if you want to improve your technique or whatever, check this out.
It's very helpful, Danny. And it's so last year, wasn't it? You set up the Royal Way so that people could come and join you and have lessons personally with you, properly, officially, bona fide stamp, Danny Gomez, seal of approval.
I never thought about that. That I could have a seal of approval. But what I can offer is my experience. It's like I have more experience as a player than as a teacher. It's like because I never received lessons. I know a lot of amazing players that had the chance to access lessons, and I absolutely imbibe that opportunity. But if you want to learn how to play this stuff, I won't show you how to play Sweet Child of Mine or Ballerina or whatever. No, I can show you how to play these because I've been doing these for a long, long time. And I came to my own path to deliver an emotion. It's like I put together a lesson about how to play Keep Yourself Alive solo. And it's like, I know that it's not exactly the solo, but the original solo has a lot of multi-track things, come in and go and counterpoint parts and everything. So it's like, okay, here's the solo. If you need to play this solo, you can bring all the little things together. And this is something that I did to myself. It's like, okay, I need to play this thing live. Brian, back to the 70s, used the Echoplex and created some kind of atmosphere. But on the record, that is what I love the most. I always tend to gravitate around the album versions. There's 2 or 3 different tracks like Come In and Go. So I did my homework. My homework was to figure out how to play this thing and bring the emotion of the original to the people. It's like, I won't be doing like a version. No. It's like, I want you to feel that you're listening to the album at home with your headphones and you're 15 years old again. So this is my mission. And this is what I try to share with the community at the Red Special Forum or at the community at the Royal Way platform or wherever. This is me trying to like keep the flame. It's just that, keep the flame.
What's the best way to find the Royal Way, Danny? Is it www.theroyalway.com?
No, well, it's easier than that. You can find dannygomez.net and you click the Academy section. It's well explained, and it's obviously it's very cheap. The idea is not anything is about the money with me. It's like I want to give easy access to a good platform forever. It's like you have all the info forever, to easy videos, easy to me to produce. That way you can keep that absolutely uber cheap cost. Because I can do them with my mobile phone anywhere in the world. So it's like it started at the pandemic times, but later this year and for sure the next one, I will be on tour all over the world. So it's like I needed something that I could deliver one 2 videos per week, anywhere in the world. It's like, okay, I'm in a sound check or I'm in a dressing room, I can deliver some content. So that was the idea. So you go to dannygomez.net, you click the academy section, you have more info that you can check about all things in my life. But you can click the academy and you have access to different programs. It's like you have the Prince one, and if you enroll the Prince one, you can have access to the videos. If you enroll to the King one, you can access to the videos and you can get personal feedback from me. It's like, okay, hey man, I don't know how to play this stuff because I don't believe in tabs. And sometimes even I don't believe in like written music to communicate this feeling. It's like, because when you're used to look the tab or to look the written music, you're like a little bit like a donkey. It's like you
You're
have
blinkered.
this thing. Yeah, you need to go this way, and you always have to check it out. And my goal is to teach you how to play, like to have your best friend in the room showing you how to play that stuff. And when your friend is out, you can keep that stuff because that stuff is you forever. That is the way that I learned. This is the royal way. That could be the real way to learn. You can enroll the Queen tier that involves 1 hour one-to-one lesson weekly. That is for the people that need this kind of interaction every now and then to keep things like interesting, and it's good too. So we have 3 programs to 3 different levels, especially about the time that I can save for every student. Like I couldn't attend 40 Queen students. I'm good keeping 1-2 every day because I only can book 1-2 hours every day to do one-to-one lessons because I don't have more time.
We'll put some links in the podcast description and on YouTube. So if you're listening to this and you want to check it out, you can at least go and check it out. And hopefully Danny gets some extra people, but not too many, so he's not too busy pulling his hair out.
Just the right ones.
Yeah. So you're an artist for Brian May Guitars, around 2007, and you're off touring with a tribute band around that sort of time. And then where do you go from there, Danny? What's the gap from 2007 to now? What have you been up to? Because I know there's been a few things.
Since then to now, I focused for 3-4 years in other stuff. I started to work as a musical director for some radio stations and record companies in Spain, where I'm regularly based. So I started doing a lot of session work after all my musicals years. So I did 3-4 musicals in a row after We Will Rock You. So I was like out of the Queen radar in a way. I was like obviously connected with Brian. I had my Brian May guitars. I played some tribute acts here, there, and everywhere occasionally. But it was like out of the Queen radar. I was doing other things like playing covers for radio stations or playing with artists that needed a band or a musical director doing their originals or whatever. In 2012, I met my wife, my now wife, and we started our own company, Toxic Prod, and we brought the A Night at the Opera concept that was like the ultimate Queen like concept to me. It was like, okay, this will be the album. You can come and see us, and this is the album. The goal was to offer for the first time live the chance of being like feeling the album, all the little detailed parts and everything. I created to my it was my impression of the best recorded tracks ever for the show. It was like I duplicated every concept, every detail to have the backing track was amazing. Top musicians and the right tracks. We recorded all the chorus, all the backing vocals, all the backing guitar tracks and everything. So it was like a labor of love. And we were touring with that until our singer was hired by Richie Blackmore, basically. And yeah, Ronnie Romero, I love that guy. And the thing was, we occasionally do it when we can. It's a matter of agenda, his agenda, my agenda. But if there's a chance, we try to do that thing, that Untitled the Opera stuff. We even brought Chris Allen from the UK to one of the biggest shows that we did here. And we've been collaborating with the Mercury Phoenix Trust for 14 years. I think that we did some of the biggest shows, like for the benefit of the Mercury Phoenix Trust. I remember one that we donated around 40,000 euros to the Mercury. It was a big one, like a big square in Madrid. It was like to be queen for a day. It was like huge. So I was very focused in this Untitled the Opera project. And at the same time, I started building my own studio here and doing remote sessions and everything. And with that, Brian May-esque concept for session work. It's like, okay, you know me, you know that I love this stuff. If you know me, you know that I have the right gear, every little detail, bags of sixpences and Optima strings and whatever your client wants for his song or album or whatever. If you need some kind of magic for your tracks, I'm the B plan. It's like if the A plan is busy, I am the B plan. So it was like my commitment, and it's what I've been doing for quite a long time. Aside the playing, just playing stuff, I started working as consultant for companies, musical instrument related companies. One of the top ones, I would say, that's Orange Amplifiers in the UK. Yep. And developing product like the TAE preamp that you all know, and the OMEC Teleport audio interface that I licensed to Orange and we released like 3 years ago. Was a big hit. Even Brian has one. And a couple of TAE preamps, I think. And I've been doing I'm going in and out of the Queen radar for 2-3 years, being absolutely busy. But since a couple of years, I decided, well, you know what? Life is short. Play the stuff you want. And if you want to play that stuff, be the best you can, the best any possible. And study every day and come back to the music that you love the most. It's like you can spend, 2 hours practicing your tapping, or it's like, you know what? I know that there's a little section in a kind of magic that I can learn and squeeze it all and get an amazing learning adventure to me and now to my students.
So you've been working very hard then on making sure that your chops are even better than they were back in 2003, 2008.
I work very hard, especially knowing that probably later this year I will be back in the We Will Rock You show. I don't know if I will be every day there, but the goal is to be like unveiling the thing and playing every now and then. And there are a couple of good proposals for the next year. I wanted to be in a good shape. And as mentioned, I have 42 years and I started to feel a little bit old. So like I want to feel fresh. I want to feel in a good shape, mentally, physically, and musically.
Yep. Well, you're definitely setting yourself up very well, Danny, with your kit that you now are using, and you received another new Red Special guitar recently, all the way from Japan. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a good one. That's a good story. When I started at the We Will Rock You, I was brave enough to send an email to Kathy Taka and say, hey, I saw your guitar. Imagine that it was like 18 years ago, something like that, the very first KZ guitar, I sent the guy an email. I say, hey, you don't know me, but sometime in the future, I will have that guitar. Obviously, I don't have the money right now, but someday in the future, I will have that guitar. That guitar was the Pro model, the original Pro model. I say, hey, well, it's good to be in contact. Well, he's super polite, you know. Super cool to be in contact. Thank you very much. And like 3, 4, 5 years later, they released the Brian May Super. And as one of the Brian May guitars artists, I got one. I paid artist price, but I got one. It was amazing. I love the guitar. But back to the day, I wanted a relic guitar. I really wanted a relic guitar. So that I sold that Super, and I got the Back to the Light relic guitar for Red Special Custom Guitars in Nashville. It was like 2008. That was amazing guitar. It was relic guitar at the Back to the Light era with all the details. It was amazing. But it was, but I have something pending. And I used every possible replica. I have pretty every possible replica. But I always had that little thing with KZ guitars because I love the guy, and I promised to myself I need to have this guitar. And years passed, and like 5 years ago, I got an email from them saying we will be at the NAMM show in LA, and we will be unveiling a new model that was the KZ1. That is some kind of hybrid. I don't know if you know the model, but it's some kind of hybrid, like a Les Paul double cut with a Kaler and Burns Trisonic pickups. Well, they say, we want you to do the demo work at the NAMM show in LA. And I say, okay, I will be there anyway because I have to be there working with Orange. And I say, okay, well, we want to pay you with a KZ1 model custom unit for you. It was like, okay, it's not the Red Special, but we're almost there. Okay. Yeah. So I did that and said, okay, well, I will be scaling up that mountain and getting every model that they produce until I get the Pro that is now the replica model. And exactly what I did. So I got the hybrid, Red Special hybrid. I got the Classic, that it was basically the same thing than my old Super, but with no locker fretboard.
Yep.
And I got the replica. That is amazing. Amazing. It's top level Japanese craftsmanship. And I love it. It's like I've been using the guitar for a long, long time. Even being a Brian May guitars artist, like I'm over the moon with Brian May team. And now that I could modify the baby blue, I'm using it a lot, both in the studio for lessons or everything. But I always want to have at least one KZ guitar because, as mentioned, I love the family, I love the guys, and they have something special. And the collection will be growing. It's like I should be receiving a Carpenteri one very soon. There's plan in a couple of years for an Andrew Guyton one. So I will keep the path. It's like, okay, you try the thing, change some things, sounds better, and I'm a geek. I told you that. It's like, and I don't have guitars with names. It's like, to me, it's a tool. It's an amazing tool. And now I have an amazing Japanese knife to cut my fish. So it's an amazing tool. But if I need another thing, I will get the other thing, and I will be improving.
You've never thought about building your own then yet, Danny?
I would love to, but I'm terrible with working with my hands. Believe it or not, it's like I can only play the guitar. It's like whatever. Oh, I'm horrible. It's like I cannot do any like house stuff. It's like I'm horrible. I can cut my. I'm sure that I could chop my hand off like trying to make a guitar myself.
I'm sure you're just saying that in case your wife's listening and she asks you to put a shelf up or do the dishes.
I'm horrible. It's like I have literally I have no tools. I have no idea. It's just like I have no space, the good space that I could have like for workshop here. I put the studio here. It's like, I'm not interested. I prefer to pay someone professional to do the stuff both at home or to build a guitar or whatever. It's like, it's not, as mentioned, it's not a matter of money. It's like good things, well done, one time.
Yep, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's everyone's on their own path with the Red Special as well, I think, and that's what's really interesting with the guitar is, which we mentioned earlier, is that you can be interested in it for so many different elements, and that's why the
It
forum's
is.
so great, because you've got great players, great builders, the guys that know the history of the actual guitar and when the tuner was snapped and it broke and Brian changed it, and
Yeah.
what lead he was using for Starlix compared to what lead he used 3 weeks before, and how the mics were set up, and it's
No,
such a rich
that is
community of
fantastic. It's
people.
like 6 months ago, I had an email chat with Brian about translating the Red Special book to Spanish for Spain and Latin America, and we are still looking for the right publisher to do that. But gave me the chance to give that Simon's book a second look, and I got the updated version and everything. And wow, man, it was amazing to check all that stuff, all that information and pictures and everything. It's like, I really admire, obviously, Brian, but I really admire Simon for putting that together that well, mate. It's like, there's a lot of info there, and he's on my studio every day around. It's like, okay, I have 5 minutes. Wow, look at this. Look at this. This screw, this gold screw looks fantastic, mate.
It always amazes me because we're looking at it now as a complete guitar, and it's, in many respects, it's not easy to replicate. And I'm not saying it's easy to replicate, but copying something, copying a thing that exists is easier than creating a brand new thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And because it's there, and it's like playing music or playing Queen songs, that track exists, and you can listen to it and listen to it. You can improve and improve and improve and get yourself to play and sound better. But Brian and Harold not only invented this thing out of nothing and scraps because they didn't have any money, it turned out to be one of, if not the most, or the best guitar in the world, and it's still being used today. And now all of us are inspired to play Queen songs and build them and use them and pour over the details of the choices they made back in the 60s. Exactly. Over
no. It's not just a series of fortunate accidents. I don't know. It's amazing. It's like two guys with zero experiences building guitars that they came to something at the first attempt, something incredible. It's like incredible. Now that I can spend my days with this kind of guitar, it's like, man, it sounds great. It's uber interactive with a very basic rigs. Like, you know how my rig is. It's 4 pedals and a good guitar. Give me a good guitar and 4 pedals, and that's it.
That's the other thing. Well, that's the other great thing about him, is if you're picking a guitar player to want to sound like an emulate and has such a big, great sound, you pick up a Burns or a BMG guitar with trisonic pickups, a treble booster, into either a digital modeling system or into an AT30, and you've got Brian May's tone pretty much nailed there without needing to buy too much more, and you can focus on the playing. Whereas lots of other players, you look at, who can I pick? Eric Johnson, great guitar player, love him, brilliant. But how many pedals does he have?
$10,000 in gear.
Yeah, just to even attempt to sound like him, and you still won't. But Brian's is so straightforward, and it's what's great since they've been making the BMG guitars is how affordable it is now to get hold of this kit. Because I remember when I first found all this stuff out, there was BMGs were coming out, but other than that was a guild, which would have been secondhand, which would have been a couple of grand back then, back in the early 2000s, and there was no chance you were ever going to get it. But now you can go online, you can buy the guitar, you can buy the treble booster and an AC30, and you're there.
The first time I met a red special, not the red special, but a red special in the flesh. It was we did a trip to Italy at the end of my high school, yeah, middle of my high school years. High school, I'm that old. So we went to Rome, went to Milan, and in Florence, in front of the gallery of the Accademia, where the David sculpture is, there was a music show with a guild in the front. It was like people were like, Michelangelo, David was there. It was like,
Yeah.
first time, it was, I never, I didn't even attempt to go in and try to play that stuff because I was looking like yeah, like a tourist. They were there. You haven't any money.
No,
It won't happen. It was a Wayne's World moment.
yeah.
But it was like, ooh, there's a real guitar that you can purchase and you can have access to that. So I think that friend of mine, Roberto, and I got some photocopies of an article of that actual guitar, and I still have them. It's like, so when you think that you have done, that you got it, you can take that thing. It's like, yeah, well, there was a young guy that wanted to get this guitar, and you did it.
Yeah.
You work hard, or you had luck, and you used your opportunity, or wherever. But there was a kid in Florence seeing that guitar, and the only thing that he could get was a couple of photocopies of an article. And now
Yep.
we're talking about an amazing guitar that costs more than a medium level car.
Yep. No, I mean, and that's the great thing as well, Danny, because at the moment on the forum, we've got a few youngsters joined us, and some of them are going through the same things that we went through, I think, because all of our paths seem quite similar.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
they're asking, oh, I'm never going to be able to afford this. I'm never going to be able to do this. And I'm only 17. But if you guys out there, if you're listening, if you work hard and you pick up any guitar and you learn your music and you keep working hard at it, in time you'll earn the money to upgrade your kit and equipment, and you'll find that when you do that, you'll not only be a better player, but you'll also enjoy it more because you've earned it, and you're kind of living your own dream then. It's so hard on those posts though not to go, well, young man, I was in exactly the same boat as you 20 years ago.
No, but it's true, and something good that you mentioned is that you don't need to spend a ton of money to get and a good approximation. So it's like, okay, there's a software version. I will keep the software and I will invest in the guitar or in the treble booster or the stuff that you can feel like strap. I don't know, or the cable or whatever, or a good bag of sixpences or whatever. But I have the software, or I have in my case, I have the TAE that allows me to play with very good tone in something in a portable pedalboard or whatever. So I spend the money in good treble boosters and good guitars and good things. And occasionally, it's like for the first time ever, it's like, okay, I will get a proper big man amp. But this once in a lifetime. I don't think that I will be having like many real amps. I want to have one good one, and that's it. Gone forever.
I'm going to steal that now and call my AC30 my big man amp from now on. I really like that idea.
Big man
amp.
Yeah, the big man amp. The thing is that I even contacted the guy that made the actual cabinet because Nigel offered me to build the amp from scratch. Every screw, every good work and everything has been done custom for this unit. So we're not modding TVX or whatever. Everything, even the bands are by Nigel's. It was quite an adventure. So I located the guy that did the cabinet, and I ordered some AC30 fronts to decorate my studio because there won't be more amps. It's like if you want to have the 3 AC30s front, I will yeah, I ordered 3 like thin fronts to put on the
So
wall. It's like, okay, you have the feeling that you don't need to spend 3 big man amps.
ideal. Well, that's a good idea, actually. I hadn't thought of that. Maybe I need to
Just for
get
the
some behind
picture.
me. Yeah, well, it's good. I've gone through gear and yeah, no, let's not talk about my gear story because we haven't got enough time. But we mentioned software, and I think you were involved with Amplitude a little bit as well, weren't you? And
Well, the thing is that through my work at Orange Amplifier, I had a very good contact with IK Multimedia because there's an Amplitude Orange gallery of amps and everything. So when they started to develop the Amplitude Brian May, they mentioned it's like, okay, we shouldn't, but we're doing some stuff. It was fantastic. I loved the idea, and they gave me early access to the software. I tried, and it was great because Jamie Humphries was like programming some amazing presets and everything. So I was quite excited, and I knew the guy that did the release video on the website, on the YouTube. That is Giacomo Castellano. He's a good friend of mine too. So it was like, oh, this thing sounds very, very well. So I decided, okay, I want to be even more involved. I created some presets from the previous version, created some presets for the mobile version and everything. And they came with the ideas. You will be at the NAM show working with Orange. Well, I will be there, yeah, working with Orange and some more brands. And I knew the Brian May guitars would be there, and Barry was there. I say, well, Danny, it could be great if you could like unveil the Amplitude Brian May as NAM, both the mobile version and the desktop version. I say, okay, but if we will be doing that, I will use my own audio interface, the Omic Teleport, and I will use a Brian May guitar. I don't know. I think that I use a Frank one day and whatever other Brian May guitar the other day. And it was fantastic. And since then, I've been involved with the Amplitude 5, and there are plans to do more stuff. And as I mentioned on the forum, I'm discussing with them like an official Red Special Forum preset package. That I think that could be fantastic to help people that don't know where to start with. It's like, okay, no, different eras, like this is the 70s preset, this is the 80s preset, this is the 90s preset, this is the real good harmonizer that you need. This is the, I don't know, the Chinese Source preset or whatever that we came with. The idea that I want to bring to the community is like, okay, let's create something together to be labeled as Red Special Forum preset package that you can download, and you can be a Red Special Forum member for a day. It's like you get the thing and you know what we're talking about. It's like if we're talking about the 70s stuff, you will get the phaser, but we all can test the preset before it's released. It's like if someone wants to change anything or whatever, we can come together as a community to the final version of the preset. It's like, okay, are we all satisfied with this? Yes. Well, maybe we're okay, change. Today there was a good conversation about the chorus. Okay, if we want the chorus, it could be great to have like wet dry situation when you have an amp with all the chorus and like the real deal. Okay, noted.
Yep.
And I think it could be great to have, I don't know, we don't need like many presets, but if we can create together supervise it like 5 good presets to say, hey, this is the best Amplitude May can sound for any purpose. It's like, it's not about the song. It's not about the part of the song. It's not about the part of the song of the G. It's like amazing 70s song. Click. Okay, you got it. Amazing One Vision 80s song. You got it. But you can use it for Hammer to Fall. You can use it for, is that concept of the 80s, the concept of the 90s, the concept of whatever. And I think that could be something cool to do together and try the stuff, upload the presets to a shared like Google Drive folder, as I did with my Amplitude 5 presets, and enjoy it.
Definitely. Well, a fantastic thing as well if we can actually get the forum members involved in that, because we are all the the world's best critics of the
Yeah,
Queen
exactly.
sound and Brian May sound, because you've got guys there that have been that have listened to this stuff and it's been their life for I don't know how long. Maybe not on a professional level like yourself. They might be a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, but in their own time, what they spend time is listening to Queen songs and Brian May and tracking down his gear. And I think sometimes there's a feeling that maybe there's a trick missed by BMG by not asking the forum for feedback on new products and equipment, that if they did involve the forum a little bit, that they might actually make a better decision or a better pick guard screw placement or some little tweaks they could make. And what you're doing is making that a reality by actually coming to us, hopefully, and asking us for our input to make something better for everyone, which
exactly.
is fantastic.
Like, let's use this opportunity to show the Brian May related companies. It's not just Brian May guitars or Amplitude or whoever. It's like whoever that is releasing something officially is like, ask us. We are here to help. It's not a matter of money. It's a matter of spreading the word to keep the flame and deliver the best experience possible to everyone, to these young kids. The young Danny is like, okay, get the best sound as cheap as you can, and you can spend good money on a good guitar. Otherwise, it's like, I need a guitar, I need a cable, I need the amp, I need it because I need to replicate everything. I'm as usual. I'm here to help. It's like it's part of what I do with companies to provide consultancy services. It's basically what I'm doing with Icon Multimedia. It's like, okay, let me be your advisor and let me help to arrange something with the right people. I'm not saying that I'm the right people, but I know the right people because I can play 99.99% of the Queen repertoire effortlessly because I invested my time in this. But I know people that can't play that or not, that know a lot more about the gear, the correct way of connecting everything. I'm used to have my own text, so I don't need to change my strings. I don't know what is the best way to change a string because I invest my time playing the guitar. I'm not worried about the technical stuff. I'm not worried about change tubes. It's like I don't have a big man amp. I have the orange showroom thing, but I don't need to change tubes.
You've already said you're not very good with your hands apart from playing guitar, so good luck with the new
guitar. Yeah, exactly. I play the guitar with a 4 pedal board, and that is what I do, and I'm happy with that. So, but I know how big musical instrument related companies work. So it's like it's better to say, hey, I know something that you could use to understand better your customers or your community or wherever. And in this case, maybe if we were the Mastodon fan club, I would say, okay, this is something orange or for Gibson, but we're the red special forum. So it's like, ask us first. We're here to help.
Definitely. And I don't think anyone ever would go out of their way to give anyone the wrong advice either, or put a company down the wrong path, because we all want the best for the equipment as well, for not just for ourselves but for the youngsters of today, so they've got accessibility to it. And that's really what the forum is built on, is that community of people, with friends, of people with the same interest, connected by Brian's guitar and Brian all over the world. And what a lovely place it is to run away to when the world is rubbish, as it has been for the last 12 months, because you can go and hang out with your mates and talk geeky Brian May to people that understand, because I know my wife doesn't. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, today I go to the post office to get another Trisonic set. It was like, you have more pickups than guitars. It's like 5 pickup sets and for 4 guitars. It's like, where is the VL? No, I will be testing this set to give feedback to whoever, and I will replay that.
Yeah.
Makes no
They
sense.
just don't understand, do they? But in our world, it's completely legitimate and a good thing to do, and it's helping people out by giving them feedback.
Yeah, but it only happens to me with the Red Special related stuff, because when I use any other guitar, they come perfect from the factory. It's like, okay, you use a Strandberg guitar, or you use, I don't know, I have a couple of Van Halen guitars and everything, and they're perfect. It's like, perfect. You don't need to change anything. But with the Red Special, it's like, wow, that new John DeBosch pickup, I need to try that stuff. And what Martha was saying, well, you just receive a guitar that is around, I don't know, 8.5K, and you need to check the pickups. It makes no sense. No, but I will only try. But you mentioned that were Addison, that were the very best pickups. That's the why Kathy Chakamon you that pickups on your guitar. Yeah, but I read that Peter mentioned that the John DeVos on the KZ made a difference. So I will try maybe just for a week.
No, I mean, and I think what's hard for people that don't understand all this is that because Brian built the guitar himself and it wasn't produced on a production line, and you couldn't buy Burns Trisonic pickups back in the day, and you can't buy them now. You can't buy the original made pickups. I'm not going to disrespect someone like Fender, but they make the pickups in a very similar way as they used to back in the 50s, and they can very much recreate that pickup set now in a modern way, having inspected those. But because the Red Special has the 3 pickups and Brian's done some work on them, and we don't really know, there's only a few people who probably actually know what he completely did. You can't just go to a shop and buy them, because there's a little bit of secret sauce in there. It's not really a secret sauce, but there's a little bit of unknown in there, and all of the stuff none of the guitar is off the shelf equipment, is it? You talked about your Baby Blue being modded by Woody at RS Conversions with Ron Smith's Cybershop parts, and without Ron, we wouldn't have the parts that we have now so readily available. 10 years ago, if you wanted parts for a Red Special, you had to go and speak to a machinist and design them yourself.
Yeah, and you can see all Red Special replicas with the strange shaped bridges and everything. But it was the best thing that they had back to the day.
No, so it's a constant evolution, because Brian's guitar isn't built how a normal guitar would be at all, and it's a nightmare to build. I can tell you that for sure.
You know better than myself, but there are little details. Like the other day, I had a good chat with Ron about little details, and I never noticed that the first blocks on the bridge had more intonation, like slots. I had no idea. It was like, oh my god! I never checked it out, that thing. It was like, wow.
If you look really closely, you can see that the B had one as well.
Yeah, he sent me pictures, and I say, wow.
But it's moments like that where you've been looking at those photos for years, like you and I would have, and you see something or someone points something out to you, and you're like, I've been staring at that photo for the last 15 years, and I did not notice that.
Exactly. Well, all the Dickey stories about the South African radio thing was like, it was the best thread ever.
No, it's a great place to go if you're interested in Queen and Brian May and inspired anyway by the guitar. It's definitely worth checking out the forum on Facebook and seeing what it's all about. And Danny, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you today. Thank you so much for your time and your story. I know you're a very busy man, and I know you like to help out, and thank you so much for agreeing to be part of the podcast. I'm sure we'll get you on again in a year or so when you've done some other stuff. We can talk about it.
Of course, and I hope that we can do that in person at the meetup, or being on tour. If I'm on tour close to you, come and visit me, check the sound check or whatever. We can do a podcast edition live in the stage.
Yep, definitely. No, I'm open to. I'd quite like to do a live podcast or a podcast recording at the meetup this year in the UK, which is the second weekend in October, I think. I can't quite remember what the date is, but maybe I'll edit that in.
I will try to be there. It's like if I'm allowed to travel on more or less freely, I will be there.
Ideal. You're more than welcome to come, of course. We'd love to meet you and shake you, well, maybe bump elbows and buy you a beer and sit 2 meters apart at a table. But
that's amazing.
No, it'd be great to. Lovely. Thank you so much, mate. It's been great to talk to you as always, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Are you happy with that, Danny?
Absolutely. It's so fun.
Anything you've missed out or you think you wanted to add in or talk about?
No, I think that it became super natural, that it was the idea, and whatever you need me sending extras, like you need whatever to illustrate, I can record some guitar or whatever. You let me know and I will do that.
Would you be able to make yourself, I don't know if you've listened to the podcast properly, but I've got like a really naff intro I've made, and then I talk a bit, and then I do a brief description of what's going to happen in the podcast, and then I have like a fill section before I introduce the guest. Mm-hmm. Would you mind having a listen and making me like a 5 to 10 second bit, and then I'll credit you with the.
Sure.
We've just listened to his intro for himself.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, send me. If you don't mind, send me an email, and I will do that tomorrow morning. It's like, okay, I need 10 seconds similar to this, and I will do exactly that.
Yeah. So just and anything you want it to be really, and then if there's anything that you feel like you want to add, so if you don't mind sending me, I'll send you an email with what I want, but I'm going to ask you for a photo of yourself you're happy with, all the links to your social media, and some descriptions and bits and bobs, because then I can put it in all of the descriptions and all the good stuff that you do on the back end of all the podcast hosting stuff and YouTube and blah blah blah, all that fun boring stuff.
Okay, I will send you whatever you ask me on that email. I will send you that tomorrow.
So I'll where are we? I will get you an email in the morning. I'll try and do it tonight, because then you'll have it for tomorrow. Anytime. And then at the moment I've been putting one podcast up a month, just because of the amount of time it takes to edit them. Yeah. And I've got a store now of maybe 4 or 5 people I've spoken to, so I've got a bank I can start to release. So what I want to do is do one every 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I'll probably start that next month, because I recorded one with Ariel about 3 weeks ago, which I want to put out at the end of this month.
Oh wow, she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's lovely. She was brilliant. She had so much time to talk about it and was really interesting. And then my kids came home because my wife had taken them out so I could talk to her, and she heard them, so she asked if she could meet them. And it just so then she's chatting to my children via Zoom. It's just lovely.
So cool. That is the spirit, and she's an amazing addition to the forum.
Yeah, no, brilliant. It's great to have her in as another member, and her own story as well, and links to Brian and equipment and gear and whatnot. But the next one that's going to come out will be that one, which might be this week, it might be next week, depending on when she agrees to me putting it out. But then yours will be out hopefully in maybe the second one next month. So we've got a little bit of time to do some stuff.
Sure. Just let me know whenever you're ready to release it, and my team will share the hell of it, the socials and everything. Anytime. And
we'll what I'll do is send you, when I've edited our conversation together, and I do like a rough cut of me doing the intro, and then I'll re-record it later once I've listened to it a few times, and then the outro and blah blah and all that stuff. But I'll send you the rough cut, just so you can, if you really are bored and you're struggling to sleep, you can listen to us talking for an hour, just to make sure that you're happy with it before I put it live. and then we'll agree a date that it can go live, and then I'll preload it with a time to go live and all that stuff, so I haven't got to press the buttons on the day. And
anytime. I trust you 100%. Whatever you think that is right, it will be right.
Good luck with that. No, it's great to actually finally get to chat to you one-to-one as well, because the Zoom meetings I think have been really fun, but it's really hard because you've got all these different windows of people, and it's nice to hear everyone's story, but you can't really talk to someone individually, and it's tough, but it's nice. I'm going to try and do another one as well, because I think they go down quite well, and it's a good chance to sit and have a beer and chat to people. And
anytime, podcast or not, let's grab a cyber beer anytime you want. We can talk about some good stories, and I owe you a lesson anytime you want. Whatever piece of Queen you want to learn, I will show you how to play it properly.
I need I think you can't see it.
Oh,
that's my home. That's my homemade guitar.
Wow. Yeah, show pictures. I love it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's got a few problems, and I'm waiting on my Guyton Time Warp, which mine is one of the first two that Andy will finish.
That is good stuff. That is good stuff.
So I'm quite looking forward to that. That should be here in a couple of months. So I'll do a special podcast episode on that, which I'm recording with Andy and all of the people that have helped Andy with all the different parts. Yeah. So there'll be a special episode on the guitar, and then another episode with Andy I've recording as well, which would be quite good. But yeah, this has got a few issues when you play it. So that's my excuse anyway. So I need a better guitar before I can have a proper lesson.
Right. Anytime. I will be here.
There's no guitars in those 4 guitar cases either that I could play. I know. That's just for show.
Well, if you need an expert guitar, I have some extra.
Yeah.
That is the form attitude.
Yeah, thank you, mate. But yeah, keep safe, mate. Thank you for all of your time, and putting up with me and my lack of organisation until this morning.
Don't worry. Anytime, whenever you want.
All right, Danny. Well, thanks again, mate, and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
And that was the end of that conversation. But now let's head straight over to see Danny behind the scenes at We Will Rock You. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Red Special Guitar Podcast. It's a slightly different episode today in that you can see me and around and things. You can also see my guest, Danny Gomez, who is currently just finished rehearsals in We Will Rock You in Spain, and he has taken some time out of his day to show me around, show all of us around his rig.
My absolute pleasure.
Where he is. And hey, Danny, how are you, mate? You keeping well?
Everything great. Absolutely pleased to be here with you again. And yeah, to give you a sneak peek about how We Will Rock You production runs, about the gear, about whatever you always wanted to know about the We Will Rock You, that can be shown by now.
Lovely. So whereabouts are you in Spain at the moment? What hall is it playing at? Where are you rehearsing?
We are actually rehearsing at the theater right now. So now we are in seat prova, that is called when we put like the actors and dancers and the band all together. And today we just finished the first act. So we've been doing every number several times, so everything like good enough. And today we at the first act. Tomorrow we'll do the second, and after that is like the show one all the time. One like every day, 2-3 times a day. It's not as fun as it looks.
Don't say that. You're ruining everyone's dreams of playing in guitar and We Will Rock You.
Well, obviously it's a dream. It's a dream come true. I love it, and I've been doing this since 2003, different like venues and everything. But this one is very special because it's been 13 years since my last We Will Rock You now. So I'm a different man. The last time I played this thing, I had no tattoos, I had no songs, I had a totally different life. So it's been quite a journey since then. But to play this stuff again, with almost the same score and everything is like, ooh, it puts you in some perspective. So it's like, oh my God, it's been a while.
Yeah, definitely must take you back to
you
to
play
where you were.
differently. It's like, yeah, you play differently, and suddenly you're rereading all this stuff, and it's like, oh my God, I used to play this thing, and it's not right because I'm 13 years older. I've been 13 more years playing. It's like, oh, it's totally wrong, man. It was the wrong version.
I'm
So it's like,
sure that what you used to do wasn't bad by any stretch, Danny.
no, but back to the day. I always tell this in interviews. I never played any Queen song until I did the first time we were talking. Suddenly, I had to learn like 25 songs in 2 weeks, something like that. But so I did everything by ear, like little following of the score, but mainly 99.99% by ear. And I figured out many things. So 13 years after, well, more because it was it's around 18 years after since the first time I played this stuff. I learned a lot. You have YouTube. It's like 18 years ago. There was no trace of like YouTube stuff or tutorial stuff. So you have to basically figure out everything. We had a Pete Cornish TV83 and a couple of Boss pedals and a TBX. And that was a real deal. It was like approved by Brian and Pete. And it was like exactly the same gear that they had in London. And it was great. But suddenly it was over noisy stuff on the top of your feet. And it was many things to control. So I was absolutely like horrified. They were, oh my God, this is totally like, it's awesome, but it's terrifying. And now is a totally different like gear platform. You're older, wiser, I think. So yeah, you confront the thing from a totally different perspective.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, thanks again for agreeing to do this. But one of the main reasons for doing this is that you're going to show us around what you're playing this time a little bit, and the guitars you're using, the rig you've decided to go with, and why, and then you might show us some other bits and pieces that you might not see unless you watch this.
So the main change is that we're not using like real amps anymore. Because it's costly. It's not very practical for a theatrical production because we used to have that under a stair, like in an isolated room and everything. It sounded fantastic, but we need like super long speaker cables, and we had the heads close to us, absolutely hot. It was like, I don't know, uber hot. And like tubes having problems and fuses and everything and having spares and everything. So when we decided to come back with the production here, I started doing the guitar consultancy work for this production. And from London came the idea to use Kemper, and it was good. They sent the backline company sent 3 Kemper units. So we went to my studio with one of the programming guys. So we captured my Night Audio Technologies DG30. It's not an AC30 anymore. It's the DG30. With my booster, with all the right stuff. And we captured that, and it sounded good in the first rehearsal at the recording studio. It sounded good enough. But as soon as we came here, everything was like uber hot, but even hotter than the real amps. It was like something is not working well, and suddenly, boom, one unit fell out. Boom, the other was like, oh, we need a deep one. And as an avid user of both the analog technology with the TAE preamp that has been covering my ass for plus 10 years, it was like, okay, we can go full analog and use the TAE with a bunch of pedals, and the production say, okay. Or we can keep digital and move to the neural DSP quad cortex that is the digital stuff that I use. So it was like, okay, let's keep digital and keep the TAE preamp with a bunch of pedals as a B plan that will never fail because it's analog, so you don't have to program anything. So the main rig is digital and the backup rig is analog. I capture again my Night Audio Technologies DG30 for the quad cortex, and that was it. It was sounding fantastic. Instead of capturing the speaker itself, I'm using a mixer of a 421 microphone and an input response on the back, like out of phase, to capture like a little bit the room, and you can get this out of phase microphone of the cabinet that Brian uses in the studio. So we try to replicate the thing. I'll show you the unit. Okay, let me check. So here's my quad cortex, and we're using 3 presets. Okay, well, I'll show you the full rig, and I will explain you the preset later. So we have the main rig would be the red specials, obviously, regular like B and G specials. Everything is stock and fantastic. They sound great, good setup, and well, there's something like kind of fancy that is the We Will Rock You straps.
Yep.
That I designed with the Right On Straps team. They will be available very soon. Stay tuned. The guitars, 10 to 46 to keep things in good tune, be reliable at the stage. I try to avoid like to break many strings, especially when we are at the stage playing like Bohemian Rhapsody or Who Wants to Live Forever or the We Will Rock You Fast version for the voice. After that, okay, we have a cable that goes directly to the quad cortex. And on the other side, we have the acoustic guitar, just a tuner or a D box, and that's it. But I know that you're not interested in the acoustic stuff because you only use it for now on, but you intro and the crazy little thing called love. So it's a good tailored guitars, a cable, and a tuner, and a DA box. So let's keep things interesting and move to the quad cortex. We have 3 presets. This is the main lead one. This is the rhythm, the crunch one, and this is the clean one. Basically, we have the same capture here. That is my DG30. This capture, everything is neutral, so it's just the capture. And you have the cabinet after that. And it's a mixture of the dynamic 421 that comes with the quad cortex. So you can move this in the 3 dimensions. So you can move the microphone anywhere you need it. And there's an input response capture of that Brian May mix for the back of the amp. And after that, well, before that we have a Dallas Range Master booster, virtual one, a noise gate in case that we want to keep things like ultra clean. We have the capture of the amp, the cabinet, and this is the level that is controlled by this pedal that controls the full volume of this preset. After that, I have a splitter, and the top row goes directly to the front of the house. I have here an harmonizer in case I need it. But we tend to do everything in real time because we have two guitar players playing simultaneously, so we can do all the thirds and so on and stuff. I have a reverb for some moments, a Killer Queen underscore, and these are the days of our lives, some little details. And as you can see, there's a splitter here that goes to these, that is a compressor and an EQ. And these out is R out. So this panel to R, and this goes this way to my feedback amp that is controlled by this pedal. So you can have like the full guitar sound on the front of the house, and at the same time you can keep this feedback amp because we are super far of the PA, super far. You can check it out. We are besides the stage, so all that you can see is at a video wall. There's massive video wall, and we're super far, so there's no chance to get feedback. So we have a feedback amp here that we can feed actually, and we can get a good feedback here that is captured, and you have that on the PA. So guitar, quad cortex, output A, output L go to the front of the house, output B, output right goes to this volume pedal and to the feedback amp. And that's it. That is the whole rig. In the clean preset. We have a little chorus that is based loosely based in a CE1. It sounds good. Vintage chorus sounds good. And that's it. Basically the same stuff. And this is the main crunch. It's basically again the same range master, the noise gate, not in use chorus, the night audio technologies capture, the same cabinet with the same microphones and everything, and the level control with the pedal. As you can see, probably there's another row here, and this is the backup for the guitar too. In case his rig fails, he could do the show using my rig, so he could connect to the input too, and we could end the show with just one quad cortex. And that's it. We're using the two inputs. This is the regular input that comes from the regular guitar, and this comes from the radio frequency rack. So when I want to play at the stage, I only to switch to preset 4 that automatically change the input to input 2. So as soon as I click here, I go wireless. If I select any of the other 3, I'm wired, and that's it. It's a good setup, and it sounds. You want to hear it?
Yeah, if that's all right.
I can do something with the feedback amp probably. Hope that nobody kills me.
So do we, because it's going to make a really interesting episode.
So that is my signal through the feedback amp. That is basically like a flat response RCF like monitor. But in case I need some feedback, then I can get the feedback here, and automatically the other channel got the same feedback, so you get all the feedback for the PA system, like. You can have the same feedback forever, and we are using not now because I'm using my iPhone headphones. And we're using in ears everyone here because we need the click and all the stuff. So there's no chance to have feedback at this level while being that far from the real sound and having no amp. So we need this kind of stuff. And that is being used forever at the WWRY production, a good feedback amp. But for this occasion and having like an emulated output, I prefer to switch from little amps like the little white box Brian May amp, or even a tiny Fender or tiny Marshall or any tiny box or whatever amp, real guitar amp. I decided to switch to a full range monitor. That way you can get that low end feedback too, like woo, and you can get the harmonic with the other guitar, and you get all the more Queen stuff, I would say.
That's a great rig, Danny. It really is like a, what's really interesting is you've got so much packed into that tiny quad cortex box.
Yeah.
That otherwise you'd be talking custom electronics that would cost a lot more than a quad cortex.
The other day, when Brian invited me to his Instagram live, I was at the studio. It was like any fan. It was like preparing the thing and playing a little bit, preparing for the rehearsals, and I had like the live, the Instagram live, like my son was like playing the video games, and suddenly it was like, hey Brian, hey Danny, how are you? He was like, oh my god. So we were chatting about the gear that I have in the studio, the technologies amps, and really, I said, oh wow, I'm so happy to see that you guys are using the real deal, the real gears. Like, no, sorry, sir, we're using virtual stuff. We capture all these real amps here. I was like, I think I like it. So as soon as he comes to visit us here, that it will happen sooner or later, as usual. It will be fantastic to show him and compare, because if he comes and he plays, he will have a real AC30. So it will be fantastic to compare the real deal with the Quad Cortex live. I did at the studio, and it's amazing. It's like I'm a true believer of this technology, and I'm proud to say that because I think that is a total game changer to be able to capture easily and portably your real gear, and being able to use it like in a professional situation like this. So it's like uh, is like proper good stuff and getting like pro sound easily.
Yeah. And am I right in thinking that with the Quad Cortex, you there's an app that on your phone, and then you can like upload your presets to your account, and then people can probably contact you and purchase
you can,
your presets.
You can upload them like publicly and share the stuff, and it's great. And I've done that with several like travel boosters and stuff. And there's no like a purchase system, but if I'm really interested about someone like trying my stuff or whatever, or I want a second opinion, or I have a super close friend, I don't know, like Tristan Avakian, that he was on tour and he was thinking about the quad courses, and I say, hey, if you want to try this thing, right, for your stuff, try this preset, because otherwise you will be like noodling with parameters and everything, and I can tell you that this preset works, is what you need. If you need like, I don't know, like a filter for a water break free or whatever, you let me know, I can program that for you, but that way you can check it out, right? And it worked. He was super happy, and I was super happy, and he's my friend. So, and we are both Knights of the Queen. So we love to share stuff. Like, hey, try this, try that. So yeah, I'm a Quad Cortex devote.
Yeah. No, they. I mean, I remember when they came out. They're really interesting, but I've not seen one yet, so I have to try and see if I can get hold of one or see someone that's got one to try it out, because it's definitely you going through and showing what it can do and explaining. It does a lot of things that we all want in our Queen rig, but at a fraction of the cost and the size.
Exactly. It's like, well, if you want to use it for this stuff, you can absolutely capture all the stuff that we love. And I have several of my different travel boosters. So I have like a Kanda Arena Dallas Rainmaker, but R2R pedals. That is the I'm top with every component. I have this capture here. I have my fryers. I have my night audio technologies. I have crazy boost all captured here in case I need another like flavor. I'm well with the range master for all the stuff of the show, because we have the 70s, we have the 80s, but we don't have like many 90s. Like, well, obviously we have No One But You or Headlong, but in a band context, there's no like big difference between a treble booster or the other, because there are two guitars. It's like everything is very well packed. So, but in case I need another flavor or I'm in a recording session or whatever, because this is the units that we have the theater, but I have my own at the studio. So in my unit, these two are basically a carbon copy of my unit with every parameter and everything, because I program it. But aside that, I have a ton of different like treble boosters, different input responses in case I want to like tweak things, and I can come with my updated ideas to the theaters. Like, hey, let's try this. Okay, sounds better. So that's why I came with these kind of wet dry thing with the feedback. I'm like thinking about how to keep things as small as possible. There's basically 2 volume pedals at the Quad Cortex, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's great.
To keep things really like simple. Yeah.
And I heard you right. Obviously, the other guitar player, he's using the same settings and same setup.
Exactly. No, exactly. It's like the idea we're trying to do here is replicate Brian's tone on the record. So the thing is that if we need like 2 guitars playing the same thing, probably one of us is using chorus and the other notes to get that wet dry thing. Like you could be using like 2 amps and a stereo chorus in front of that. So we're replicating that. And maybe we don't need that, and we want to keep playing the 2 guitars playing 2 different parts. I don't know, like 7 Seas of Rye. One keeps the rhythm guitar, one is making fills to keep things like on the record. So the ultimate goal to be the record, not the live sound. That is massive, a fantastic win live. Is absolutely great, but we are going for the record here. And we try to keep all the songs sounding like the original, but with a twist. So everything fits with the previous number at the next number. You don't want to have like the crazy 70s and rocky 80s and suddenly overproduced 90s, and you know how it goes. We need like a flat rate sound that sounds great for the over bottle, and suddenly it goes for no one but you, just changing one preset. So there was some volume.
Yeah, no, it's great, Danny. Really, really a lot of work by you, and to try and get something that's ultimately really very well put together, and very little can go wrong, and there's a bit of redundancy built in, but also a small package that you can, like you said, you can edit it at home if you come up with a better suggestion in your studio or a better setting, and then you can send it to the one at the show and update both of them if you're happy with it. It's definitely rather than having to buy like, oh, I've just found this new pedal that does this thing, or a multi effect. Now we have to buy 3 of them in case one breaks, and then for the other guitarist, it's a few clicks of a button and away you go, and it's great. What else can you show us while you're there, if you're allowed to show us anything?
I can show you the band pid that is not a pid anymore. I will turn this off just in case. And I will show you the band pid that is not a band pid anymore, because it's a platform. Oh, my baby is here. Hi, Lennon. I will go downstairs right now. So this is the band pid. This is my seat.
Yep.
And this is the guitar too. Rick. That door takes to the drum cabinet. Musical director and keyboards, and the bass rig that is powered by the dark glass vintage preamp to get all that crazy and classic John Deacon tones.
Very nice.
I go in a bit. My family came to rescue me to the theater, so goodbye, everybody. I have to go.
Again, Danny, thanks so much for your help, mate. It's fantastic chatting to you. It's great to actually talk to you again, and there's lots of giggles outside of the actual chat that we did together. But yeah, great setup you've got there. Really interested to be able to hear that one day through a quad cortex. So really difficult to get hold of at the moment, but I'm sure from what you've said and how everything's going that they sound absolutely fantastic. I just can't wait to actually hear one live in a room. Now, one of the other things I talked about at the beginning of the video and the podcast was that we would be having a brief chat about the Red Special Guitar Meetup in Reading later this year, and that is in October the 9th, 2021 in Reading, UK. If you head over to redspecialguitarpodcast.com and have a look for the events, there is a link there that takes you to a page which discusses the whole of the meetup, where you can buy tickets. Any questions, feel free to email the podcast, but time is ticking now on coming along. You do need a ticket to come because of coronavirus and keeping track of everyone's information. And yeah, it should be a great day. We've got some fantastic things lined up, a couple of surprises as well. Won't go into any more detail than that, but it should be a fantastic welcome back to saying hello to everyone across Red Special land. And outside of that, I also said that there would be a giveaway at the end of this podcast. And earlier this year, IK Media teamed up with Danny Gomez and put together a competition where you could provide a sound file of a Queen song or a Queen tone, Brian May tone, and they would review those, and the winner would get various things. Now, I submitted something I'd worked on with a friend of mine, and lo and behold, I won, or came second in the competition, which gave me a free version of Amplitude 5. I already own Amplitude, so I spoke to Danny and chatted through with him, and we suggested that we would do a giveaway on the Red Special Guitar Podcast. So if that's something that you'd be interested in winning, you have until the day before the meetup to enter, and to enter you need to like the Red Special Guitar Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and share our status on the IK Media Amplitude 5 giveaway, which will be going live with this show. And if you do those 3 things, you'll be in with a chance. And my plan is to take all the names of all the people that have entered and to get one of the guests at the Red Special Meetup on the 9th of October to draw that out of a hat live, and then we can pass on that to the winner. which will be absolutely fantastic. So please do that. Any questions on what that looks like, then please check out. But there'll be a post going live soon with this to detail how to do that. And as always, I just want to say thank you so much to all the patrons on Patreon and for all of the listeners and watchers out there. You guys are absolutely fantastic, and I'm always blown away by the amount of support that the channel gets, because it is literally just me and a microphone chatting to my friends, but you're enabling me to create new things and try new stuff, like making videos for you all. And after this video, there will be a couple more traditional style podcasts, but there is the upcoming Guyton Guitars Time Warp Red special review, and it is coming and it should be good, and I'm very excited to be able to share that with you. So please stick around and make sure that you follow us on all social media to see where that goes. And if you want to support the channel but you don't want to go on Patreon, then please do have a look at our merch store. Again, redspecialguitarpodcast.com. You can click on merch, or I think it's merch, and you can head down and you can buy mugs and t-shirts and other bits and pieces with the logo on, so you can show all your friends that you can now see that you're supporting the Red Special Guitar Podcast. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me for today. Thanks so much again, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.